So we've got a pretty cool project going on. We've been working on it here the last couple months. We got a little bit of a late start on it, but this is what we call the Scratch 80. And I've got everything drawn out here on Hunt Stand right now, and it looks kind of funny, but this is basically our wish list, our first year going into this. If you zoom out, you can kind of look, you can see the habitat around it. It looks pretty good. You know, we've got, it just looks like, you know, West Central Illinois, little draws, fingers, you know, agricultural ground, pasture land, and that's basically what this farm specifically is or was in the past, is an old cattle farm. It's kind of vintage. It's got an old homestead in the middle of it with a bunch of buildings, an old cattle lot right here in the center of it. Really thick timber, not a lot of timber value per se, but really good cover for white-tailed deer. But everything else you see that's open land is a biological desert for anything wildlife. It's all fescue. It's overgrown with thorny locust trees. We're going in there, we're mowing down the locust trees, we're spraying out the fescue. We're gonna go back. Everything you see in yellow is gonna be native warm season grasses. So we've got a buffer strip here. We've got a 6.5 acre block of it right here that's a south facing slope that's directly adjacent to the thickest bedding on the whole farm. If you slide over, this is gonna be the centerpiece. This is gonna be about a 1 3/4 acre food plot. It's gonna be ideal for early season, I think. We can come in, any kind of south wind, we'll have a blind right here. It's directly next to bedding area. The thickest area on the farm is right here. We've got a pond here, but this is within 100 yards of a food source. This is in a little bottom. We'll be able to have our stand up here on the high side. Our wind will be kind of blowing out. You slide over here, this is all going to be native warm season grasses. This is about an 8.5 acre field. We're going to have about an 1.5 to 2 acre food plot in the middle. This is going to pull deer from this way, and this way. We'll have a stand here. We haven't really decided on our stand location here because we don't know exactly what the deer are going to be doing. We've got soybeans right here in this bottom. We're going to have a fall food plot here. This is thick bedding right here. We've kind of outlined that. We haven't done anything in the timber yet. We're probably going to save that for next year to really see what the deer do and how they react to what we're going to do this year. But you come up in here, this is a border of switchgrass here as well. We're going to go back in with alfalfa in the center of it. We're going to go back in with alfalfa here as well, just to have a little bit of an income on the farm, or just have a good hay source for some local cattle farmers. We're going to have a small food plot here. This is going to go in an alfalfa as well. So we're basically taking this farm and flipping it to 100% wildlife. Typically, like I said in the past, this has been a cattle farm, but our focus mainly is wildlife. We're not necessarily trying to funnel deer in certain ways. We're basically just building the habitat to give them a place to live, give them a place to feel safe, and then we're going to kind of figure out how to hunt it. That's kind of been our style, that's been our mantra. We just love taking pieces of ground like this and seeing really what we can do with them. And I think this is going to be a really cool place here in the future for us to have some really nice hunts on. So this farm is a lot like any other farm in the Midwest that's never been really managed for wildlife. It's been managed for cattle. Nothing wrong with it, just different objectives. So this farm's 80 acres. It's full of fescue. We're gonna go through a pile of Roundup just trying to get rid of this stuff. We're gonna come back in with some native warm season grasses, and some of it we may not even plant back, but whatever regenerates after we get rid of the fescue will be good weeds. So, you know, it may turn back into old field style habitat, whatever we don't go back with native warm season grasses. One thing that I don't want people to get confused with is you see a lot of guys that are building farms, and they're specifically building them for killing deer. You know, they're stacking windrows of brush, trying to get a deer to go where he wants to go. What we're doing here, and what I want people to know what we do for a living, and what our goal is we build the habitat for any kind of wildlife on a certain piece of property, and then we basically kind of learn how to hunt them after that. So what we really like to do is take a piece of property, figure out the limiting factors that are on it, and take it from there and build the habitat. And then once you have the habitat built, the deer the turkeys, the wildlife will come. This is not something that is flash in the pan. We're not doing it so we can kill a deer come October. We're doing this, we're basically playing the long game. You know, this may take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to really get the way we want it to be, but we've got a vision. Like I said, it may be 5 years down the road before we actually see the real benefits of this, but that long game, that's the game to play.